Welcome to What the Paranormal with your homegirl, Miss Hyde. Um, Today's episode is the old lady. Now, this happened about 20 some years ago. Um, I remember it clearly, but I don't remember how old I was. It must have been between I was 20 and 22. So I go out with my friends this particular night, and we're at the Key Club in Hollywood, and I get plastered, shit faced. And, we're listening to this band playing, and I get plastered, and they're all like, my friends are all like, hey, Denise, we'll take you home. I go, no, dude, I'm not going to leave my car in Hollywood overnight. I don't think so. So I get into my car and I drive home. I'm not supposed to do that. Don't drink and drive. It's not safe. You'll get pulled over and you go to jail. You get a DUI. But for some reason, being that young, alcohol did not affect me. So my friends followed me partially to the freeway. We were on the phone because they wanted to make sure everything was okay. And I was like, okay, all right, I'm good. So I get on the freeway. But at the same time, when I was getting into the car to leave the club, I one noticed cigar smoke in the car. I'm like, I didn't valet my car, so where the hell and who was smoking cigars in my car? Two, it had that little old lady smell. Hence why the story's called Little Old Lady. Um, I, fucking Febrezed the inside of my car because the cigar smoke was really strong. I didn't want to deal with it. And I um, wanted to um, get home because I was getting nauseous with the cigar smoke. So after I Febrezed the inside of my car down, I began driving out. And I hear this noise from the back seat of a click. And I'm like, I'm drunk, but I know there's nobody in my car. So I look in the rearview mirror and I see this little old lady sitting in the back seat. And I was like, okay. And it didn't dawn on me whatsoever that I'm dealing with a ghost or anything. And I go, oh, hi. Just having like a straight up conversation. I'm all like, oh, hi. And she's all like, hello, how are you? You're out awfully late. And I'm like, oh, I was out with my friends and I'm on my way home now. And I asked her, do you want me to drive you somewhere? I can drive you home. She's like, oh, yes, please. Okay. So, she kind of told me where to go, and it was going my way home. And I was like, so what are you doing out on the streets at like 2 o'clock in the morning? She's all like, oh, I was going for a walk and somehow I ended up out here. I'm like, okay, all right. I was like, we're in Hollywood and you want me to take you back toward my neck of the woods and you're out for a walk. Okay. And I go, okay. I mean, like, and I asked, are you hungry? Thirsty? I can stop in, 7-Eleven, get you some coffee, a donut, McDonald's. She said, oh, no, sweetie. And she kept calling me sweetie. Now, I'm going to describe this lady to you. Okay. She was wearing a purple and white dress. She had one of those hand crocheted shawls. She had long curly hair, um, and she had glasses, and she was solid, solid as can be, like another human. And I'm like, okay. So I'm talking to her, and I asked her, well, do you have any kids? Do you want me to call your children so they can come pick you up? Do you you know, do you have a husband? Is there somebody I can call? She said, oh no. If you don't mind just taking me home, I would appreciate it. So we were, driving. She was telling me about her life. She was born in 1926, November of 26, and she had a husband, four kids. They're all grown. They all have grandkids, and you know, she's telling me about her life, and she lives in a little house that's white with yellow, and so she's giving me all these details, very thorough. So I start to doze off, and she's all, sweetie, and I'm like, yep, yes, ma'am. She's like, are you tired? And I go, it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just, my eyes are getting heavy. And she's like, oh, well, and she starts talking to me, tell me about your family, tell me, about do you have brothers and sisters, do you have this and that, and we're just having a decent conversation, going back and forth. So I get off the freeway, like I switch freeways, and I go, so do you want to give me the address so I can take you where you're going? She's like, yeah, no problem. She like, take the 605 and get off on Valley, but don't turn onto Valley, just go straight. So I'm like, oh, I live that way. So I'm like, okay. So I'm going right, and I'm coming up close to my house. I get off the freeway, and I hit at the intersection by the high school, and I go, um, you know, how much further? She's all like, it's about three lights down. And I'm calculating in my mind, and I'm like, that drops her off at Orange. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, oh, okay, so you must live by me. So I'm driving, and I'm talking to her. She's like, oh, I got married in this church, baptized my kids in this church, my children got married in this church. And then, I'm like, oh, I went to school there. I did my confirmation there. I did my communion there. Talking. And I go, now, which way? I ask her, which way? Go silent. So I look in the rearview mirror, and there was nobody in the back seat, and the seatbelt was still locked. I was like, what the fuck? And I pull into my driveway, and I go inside, and I go to sleep, and I wake up 3 hours later to go to school, and I get in the car, and I find in my car the seatbelt still locked and a shawl. So I call my friends, and I go, which of you idiots left your shawl in my car um, last night? And they're all like, well, nobody was wearing a shawl, Denise. I'm like, wait a minute. And I thought I was just hallucinating this whole scenario. It was like a dream. And so I get to school, I get out, go to my classes, get back, go to work, and I'm looking at this shawl because it's in the front seat, and I leave it in the front seat, and I'm like, this shawl, something about the shawl, I've seen it before. Where have I seen it? So um, I take it, I get back home, I take it down from my car, I walk into the house, and my mom goes, where'd you get that from? And I tell her where I got it from, and oh, that's the old lady's. Um, long curly hair, purple white dress. Yeah, she was looking for her shawl. I was like, oh, so I wasn't dreaming that. She goes, what do you mean? I go, my entire drive home this morning was me talking to this little old lady in the back seat of my car. She put her seatbelt on. She was wearing a shawl, and that's what I saw. So yeah, that's the little old lady. She wants her shawl back. So I do what I have to do. I go out with my friends again, and I put it in the back seat. And I tell the little old lady, here's your shawl, and if you want to ride again tonight, let me know. And haven't seen her ever since. But I do once in a great while will get phantom smells of cigars and little old lady smells in my vehicle um, late at night. Usually when I'm like dead tired is when the smell will happen. Um, but I do get a lot of phantom smells. I get a lot of cigarette smell, a lot of beer smells, um, a lot of lavender floral smells. Um, and it's to people it's weird. To me, it's normal. But hey, what can I say? The ghosties like to follow me. Um, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my podcast. I would love to hear your feedback. I would appreciate your feedback. I would also love to hear from your stories. You can send those to whattheparanormal77@gmail.com. You can follow us on uh, Instagram, Facebook. All the info is down below. And you all stay safe out there. Make sure you protect yourself, wear your mask, stand 6 feet away from people. Um, and I'll talk to you all later. Keep it ghosting.
If you're new to the podcast community and you want to start a new podcast and you're looking for a platform that is user friendly, that has everything you need at your fingertips, that won't set any limits, that you can earn money, then I would recommend Anchor. Now, Anchor can be used basically anywhere. You could be in your car, you can be laying on the sofa in bed where you can edit, record, and upload. You can throw in soundtracks. Everything is there for you. Now, I use it because, it's user friendly and it is free, and I find it really easy to navigate without it being very confusing. Now, most platforms, before you can even try it out, you need to sign up and pick a plan. I like Anchor because I don't have to go through any of that. So I recommend it. Now, if you really want to get into it, I recommend you going to your website, anchor.fm, and signing up, or you can download anchor.fm from the Google Store, iTunes, and give it a try. So don't forget to go to anchor.fm, sign up, and I'll see you all in the podcast community.